And there's a reason that you say something and there's a headline. People want to hear what we have to say, so we shouldn't shy away from it.
You can use your imagination. You better use your imagination.
Today, because Kevin Durant is at the school that he paid for here in the district, because that's where he's from.
Right now I'm at the Emanuel film screen. I want to vlog more, but it's like weird recording yourself in public next to people. So yeah, but I'm gonna try and get a lot of footage for y'all.
Oh yeah. No need to.
Okay, so it's gonna start in 15 minutes, and everyone clearly is a little upset. Honestly, Steph Curry, he's probably like traffic or something, so that's probably why. We were supposed to start at 7:30. It's like, what, 8:10 right now, but he'll be here soon, and that's all that matters.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's you.
You know.
I appreciate that Steph Curry and Unanimous Media, led by our alum Jeron Smith, chose Howard to host a screening and discussion of this film and the very timely themes of faith, race, and identity that it touches on. And tonight, we'll host Stephen Curry and members of the Golden State Warriors. We all know...
Clay Thompson, are you here?
What a powerful film. I want to introduce myself. Thank you all for coming. My name's Lauretta Charlton. I'm an editor at the New York Times. I'm here tonight. We have Jeron, Steph, and Brian, who worked on this beautiful, very painful film. My first one is for you, Jeron, and also Steph, about your about Unanimous, which is your company that you're working on together, and this is a sort of debut project. And if you could walk us through the objectives of the company and its origins and some of your mission.
My background is brand strategy, and when Stephen and I, when we first started working together, kind of that foundation, where you start is with kind of who you are, what you want to represent, what you stand for, and the impact you want to leave on the world. And I was trying to dive into some of those questions and some of those topical areas with Stephen. His answers really centered around one foundational theme, which was inspiration. He wanted to use his platform to really inspire the world. And when the opportunity in media and film and television came around, brought it to Stephen, talked to him about the greater opportunity, the thought was that there is no more impactful way to inspire the world than through the sharing and the dissemination of content around the globe. And it seemed like a foregone conclusion that getting into the film and television space was the right move for us.
You know, on top of that, just I feel like I have a very strong foundation. I understand really who I am and how different I am amongst, I guess, peers and things that make me who I am. And for me to bring those pillars into life through this media space in terms of the family, my faith, and obviously the world of sports. And so we try to find projects and stories that are inspiring, one, but two, fall in one of those categories that are truly authentic to me. And I think we've done a solid job of that so far, and obviously aligning with people that are great storytellers that have an eye for that field and doing it in a very, very big way and uplifting people that need to be uplifted. So that's kind of how we got into it.
Congratulations, and this is the first big project, and from what I understand, people will have a chance to see it in certain locations on a certain date.
So we are actually planning to release the film for the first time on the day that it happened, June 17th. We'll be releasing it in theaters.
The film was really hard to watch, and part of me wanted to start this conversation by saying I hate that it needs to exist, right? Like, I hate that this happened and we need to watch something like that. As we move into the conversation about the film, you know, the United States has a deep legacy of racial trauma and pain and suffering going back centuries. And I wanted to know why you guys decided to focus on this particular instance. Obviously, it's close to home, but I want to hear you sort of share that with us.
Like you said, I think it's a truly heartbreaking story. It's one that was well known across the country, across the world, and another incidence of senseless tragedy in terms of gun violence, in terms of racial profiling, racism in general. I think the biggest thing, we talk about some of the themes in the movie, but the biggest thing that came out was how faith and forgiveness permeated the family's response to this tragedy. For me specifically, it's so hard to try to put yourself in their shoes or to empathize with what they're going through, but it's so inspiring the way that they handled it. So many ways that could have gone down. There's so many ways that they could have used the cameras in their face and asking them these questions. How do they want to celebrate their family members? How do they want to move forward and deal with the tragedy? And they chose forgiveness. They chose faith. And they chose to support each other and the community coming around them. And so that alone speaks volumes for humanity and the hope in humanity. That community in Charleston, the community around Emanuel, they did an amazing job of that. So we wanted to be able to tell that story to the masses. That hopefully that gives hope to whatever you're going through. This is at the highest of tragedies, but anything that you're going through in life, just spread love, spread positivity, spread forgiveness and faith, and those things can help you out.
So I wanted to hear about Jeron and Steph, your experience in church. Did you grow up in church?
I grew up in church. I guess my earliest memory of church is probably being about 4 years old. Non-denominational Christian church. The film is tough, right? I like to refer to it as the duality of faith, right? On one hand, there are a myriad of families that forgave Dylann for that tragic act. Their family members murdered, and I don't think there's any other way to look at that forgiveness than as an illustration of the power of God. Conversely, I also understand and can recognize the other side or the flip side of that coin. The thought that Christianity has been historically used to keep the oppressed docile, subservient, nonviolent to their oppressor. Some of the families chose not to forgive, but I think regardless of what side that response you agree with, I think it's pretty pertinent to recognize that act of forgiveness was powerful. It was inspiring. I think it provides a measure of hope.
I think one of my earliest memories is in Radford, Virginia, where my mom grew up. This is Church New Mount Olive, right across the street, and it's a neighborhood church. And I remember as a kid, kind of like we talked about with the elders and the familiarity of that Sunday and just the sights and sounds and the views and the music and the vibe. It was kind of ingrained in me early in terms of what that could mean and tapping into that. When I actually gave my life to Christ in middle school in Charlotte, it was the Church of God in Charlotte, led by a white pastor, Pastor Livingston, but the congregation was fairly mixed. From that standpoint, it was never a question. Going to church was about just a community and love and worshiping God. And so I was blessed to grow up with that foundation and that being a huge part of my life growing up, so that it could kind of set me on my way as I went into the world. Such a traumatic thing for these families that they're going through. Again, how often and frequent it is, it just makes you angry. And again, for me, growing up in North Carolina, having spent time in Charleston, understanding the kind of lay of the land down there, it was definitely heartbreaking. And then you follow the events from there, and a lot of that was depicted in the film in terms of the initial hearing where family members are speaking up as they see Dylann for the first time. President Obama, in his moment, giving the eulogy and those type of things, and that's where the hope and the faith starts to creep back in.
And I'm thinking, like, what did I do? I don't think it was that bad.
Somebody come get him.
So, you know,
guys look too much different.
is this being taped? So I'm seeing her, and she has her laptop out. And of course, we've been off the grid entirely, being on our honeymoon. And I just said, "What's going on? You okay?" And she said, 9 people got shot in their Bible study. I said, what are you talking about? Of course, that's a place we were both very familiar with. And I said, are you okay? Are you okay? But she says, no, you don't understand. They're forgiving him. They're forgiving the guy who killed them. And I remember looking at my wife in that moment, and I remember saying, man, whoever tells this story better not skip that part. I had no idea that I would ever be a part of that. So for me, it was important to me that with the families in particular, that Demos did the interview. Something I learned from this process early on is that it's very hard for a white person to grieve properly with a black person. And I think it's awkward and it's inappropriate. I think there's something I'll never understand. And I accepted that, and so Demos was the one who really had the courage to sit in those rooms, and I was the one in charge of the camera, making sure it looked right and everything. Together, we were able to handle it, and I think the families felt honored and cared for in that process.
What Unanimous stands for as a company, I don't think we could have dreamed of a better film, a better project that represented what we wanted to stand for as a company than this film.
Say I don't believe in the death penalty. I feel like there are situations where an individual can be redeemed or be healed, and mentally, physically, whatever the issue is at root of why they're in that situation. They do not need to be a threat to society at all. And that needs to be taken care of first and foremost. And I understand there are other implications of what that means for a life sentence and long-term care for that. But just in terms of what I believe in humanity and the redeeming qualities of my Lord and Savior and what that means for somebody going through the worst of the worst, nothing is impossible for that. So I think that can live out through not putting somebody to the death. Take on what they went through, the way that they tell their story, the passion behind it, how they celebrate their family members. Two that stick out to me the most, just because I think I can, if there's any way I can relate to what the mindset that he was going through, was Chris Singleton. As a young athlete, he's spirit-led in what he's doing. He thinks he has a higher purpose and knows he has a higher purpose, and a God-given ability to play baseball, and that's what he's wrapping his mind into. He finds motivation in the verse that he writes on his wrist, and that keeps him going every day, and he thinks it's for a certain reason. Like he talked about, when his mother passes and is taken away from him, that verse takes an entirely new meaning for him. In the face of adversity, in the face of tragedy, how can I get through it? And I try to picture myself, like, would I have the awareness to respond that way? Would I have the maturity and the courage to say, and the strength to say, you know what, this isn't gonna defeat me. It's a terrible situation. He loves his mother. It's not gonna defeat him. He finds that inspiration through something that was in his life already, but he kind of, redirects that. And that was a powerful moment for me in terms of seeing him in the gym doing an interview so soon after his mother passed, and taking on the forgiving qualities that were empowering to him, and an example to his sister who's there, and the rest of the people that knew him. And then again, President Obama, in terms of the amazing grace, the community in the church, everybody who was watching that, it was just a communal experience that I think gave so much hope.
We feel politics should be left out of sports.
I say athletes in general, especially the NBA, guys are educated, they know what they're talking about, they're passionate about what they believe. And there's a reason that you say something and there's a headline. People want to hear what we have to say, so we shouldn't shy away from it. It is a game, it's a sport, it's for fun. There are millions and millions and millions of people that watch. And that platform is extremely powerful if used in the right way. And we have a league that supports each other. We have a commissioner that supports us in using our voice and speaking for those that can't speak for themselves. This era of athlete is unafraid to be unapologetically themselves, no matter what that means. I'm blessed to be able to play in this league. I'm blessed to have the support that we do. I'm blessed to have the platform that I do. And we'll continue to use that until I don't have it anymore.
Howard University. So that's why I chose Howard in here, because I that moment right there. One, Howard changed my life. I actually spent my first 2 years of college at UCLA, and I transferred to come to Howard University. Howard was a game changer for me, and a film like this, there's no other place to show it. And Howard is affectionately referred to as the Mecca, right? There's a quote by Ta-Nehisi Coates that I think perfectly defined it, right? He talks about Howard and the Mecca being two very different things, and Howard kind of being the academia, the classes, the university experience, but the Mecca being this infectious energy of people that look like you going to school here and achieving at a high level, and what we think of as the capital of Black intellectual thought. And I think when you consider those factors in this film, there was no better place to show this.
Wait, do it again. Right. Wait, what about one more time?
You gotta come this way.
Oh my God, why is he having a powwow down there? Why did he just squat down? Oh my God.
Hey, when you get away, you gotta show this.
I almost got my hand touched and I moved it. So me and my friend Rachel just came back from the screening of Emanuel. We saw Stephen Curry. What are your thoughts?
It was a very powerful movie. Like
Definitely.
it was
I
very
literally
explicit. Actually, not super explicit, but there were definitely some scenes I was like, whoa, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the cool parts was one of the parts that I really thought about was the part with the baseball guy.
Oh my God, that really hurt
he
my
was
heart.
like, I forgive him, but that I didn't really process that when I said it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, I felt that. I be saying shit how me all the time.
Right? He was like, I didn't even notice I said it until I looked back at it and I was like, wow.
That's not me. That's not me. It was great. And then you knew niggas was hurt for Steph.
Right? At the end, I almost got to touch his hand. My hand was like this. His hand went to go touch mine, but this guy was in front of me. I didn't want to slap him in the head. So, had to put my hand down.
You should have, though.
I should have.
Should have.
But I got these nice little videos of Steph, so I'm going to insert them in. Okay, so I don't know if I ever actually talked about what the movie Emanuel is about, but basically it's a documentary about the shooting that took place at Emanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina. Dylann Roof was the shooter, and it was from the perspective of the victims' families and how the shooting changed their life, how their day actually went the day of, and it was very powerful. I did cry a little bit because it was just so emotional, and the fact that they all forgave him was very inspiring. It was just a message that everyone needs to listen to. They're going to be premiering it June 17th, I believe, because that's the day it took place. And also, while I'm at it, I'm going to do a little mini story time because I almost didn't even get to go to the event because someone stole my ticket. So mind you, I didn't buy the ticket. The ticket was free. So I got the ticket, I put it in my purse Friday, Saturday maybe, because I didn't want to lose it. So I put it in this specific compartment, and then boom, today, the day of the event, I go in that compartment and I have 2 basketball tickets, but no Stephen Curry ticket. Let me know. So I'm sitting here freaking out. Mind you, it's literally 7:15 when I found out I don't have the ticket anymore. So I'm just what am I gonna do? Because the tickets are probably sold out, so I don't think I can get one, and I don't want to pay for a ticket I got for free. So I'm just sitting here going crazy. I've been hyped about this all day, seeing Stephen Curry, and I'm not even gonna get to see him. What? But I decided to go to the lobby. I literally did my makeup, got dressed, everything. So I was like, you know what? I'm not giving up. I went downstairs. I just happened to see a friend of mine from my psychology class. And I was like, oh my God, are you going to the event at Cramton? And she was like, no, but I have a ticket. And I was like, wow, can I have it? And then she was like, yeah, oh my God. So she went to her room to get the ticket, could not find the ticket, comes back, checks her backpack one more time, and it happens to be there. So she gives it to me. She's like, I'm so sorry this happened to you, because I told her what happened about somebody stole the ticket from my purse. So she was like, you know what, go out, have fun, enjoy yourself. And I'm just like, oh my God, thank you so much. So mind you, the event was supposed to start, I can't even speak, I'm so anxious telling this. The event was supposed to start at 7:30, but it didn't actually start until 8 something anyway. But I got there at literally 7:38. I was stepping. up that hill. My legs were burning, but it was worth it because I got to see Stephen Curry. So yeah, that's literally the end of this vlog. So there wasn't much that went on in this vlog. It was about the Emanuel showing and, you know, obviously Stephen Curry being there because he was an executive producer. So that was the main focus of this vlog. So sorry if you find it like kind of boring, but yeah. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.